really enjoy Joe Rogan's show, and that's why we are checking out some of it. He's talking to the CIA officer Mike Baker, and he's getting his outlook on the Ukraine war and how it relates to China and everything. This is an excellent conversation, and watch this. It's gonna be good.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
We're all occupied with Russia and Ukraine right now, but China's the bigger issue, right? In the long term. And we just need to be able to multitask. And yeah, we got to worry about Russia-Ukraine conflict. And does that get out of control, or just, you know.
And guys, if I do start talking too much, please forgive me. All right. I'm trying to, you ever heard of double dutch, where people are turning 2 ropes at a time? They used to play that all the time back in the hood. I don't know if they played it in your neighborhood. But it takes time to get in there without getting hit in the neck with the extension cord or whatever they're using as a jumping rope. As a double dutch rope. I'm trying to just get into the conversation. And so some of the things I'm aware of, most of it I'm not, but bear with me.
Where is it going? I guess that's a bigger question.
Where do you think it's going?
Yeah. I don't think anybody's got a plan in Washington right now, or in NATO. I don't think anybody knows. I think they're all being basically reactive, as opposed to, what's the end game here? What is the final way that we wrap this up? And look, the U.S. has spent, I don't know, as of the end of 2022, and that's almost a full year because it started in February. So almost in a full year, the U.S. spent about $50 billion.
God damn!
I
said got, not God, got. That's how you're supposed to say it where I'm from. God damn! You know what I mean? You don't use God's name in vain. So you got to say it another way. Got! Either G-A-T or G-O-T.
Assistance.
But $50 billion is a lot of money.
And about half of that is military aid, right? In a variety of forms, right? The HIMARS systems all the way to protective body armor, right? So it's all over the map, and training. If you compare that, $50 billion in aid to, and so what's that, about $25 billion in military aid. If you compare that to previous year or the year before, we were probably spending, on the Ukraine, $250, $270 million in military assistance. That's it, right? So that ramp up is incredible. And then that doesn't include what the EU's put into it, what the UK's put into it, and everything else. So how do you back out of that, right? How do you say, okay, we're putting a Patriot missile battery in there, and France and we have agreed. I think we're looking towards more advanced armor technology. We're going to give them tanks that they've been hankering for. Hankering? I said hankering.
I do that a lot too. Hey, shout out to this guy. I like him because he's laughing at his own thoughts. Like he said, hankering for. I said hankering. I do that often. Be like, fam, did you really just say that? Yeah, you just now said that. You sound corny now, bro. You don't sound corny. You sound like yourself. Relax. Don't be so difficult. I like when people laugh at themselves, man. That's what it's about, man. But he's right. He's right. If we pull out, it's going to be some problems. Like y'all just now said, we're up to $110 billion now. It's going to get nasty.
And so that might be a Ukrainian word.
Hankering might be a Ukrainian word.
I don't know. I have no idea where it's going to wrap up. Putin's not going to give up Crimea. So what does that mean? Well, you got to create some middle ground then, where it's not going to be a complete victory for the Ukraine. And that's going to make a lot of people unhappy who are just standing around waving Ukraine flags, right? And so where do you go from there? I don't know. Hopefully there's some serious negotiations happening off the radar screen, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of evidence to that effect. And Putin doesn't seem to show any interest in it. And he's been able so far to tamp down on the dissidents at home. And really, much like with China, the only thing Putin would really fear is losing power.
Now, I think they're trying to get, and this is just me, makes probably no sense at all. I think they're trying to get Putin to team up with China so that we can completely take out China and Putin all in one fell sweep, in my opinion. Probably makes absolutely no sense at all. But guess what? I don't want to be correct all the time until I'm correct. Like, feel free to give me the proper information. I'll go off of that, and then I will adjust my speech. But that right there is just what I think so far.
And he loses power if he loses the population. And so far, that really hasn't happened. There's been protests. People unhappy with the. Sorry, that was
that's your phone.
That was my sports alert. I get.
You get a
Yeah, exactly. Whenever there's something big happening in the world of sports. So anyway, I to answer your question in a very lengthy, rambling way, who knows where it goes? But it would be nice if we had more open discussion about it, at least in Washington, and open with our NATO allies about what's going to happen.
I think the worst thing that ever happened to Putin and the worst thing that ever happened to Asia was Donald Trump. I mean, to China was Donald Trump. Yep. Yeah. Just no more free lunch. If someone says no more free lunch, some people get pissed off. Some people get pissed off. No more free lunch, and there's a new bully in town. When somebody stands up and says that, you got to pay your way now, all right? And you're not going to be bullying a damn thing over here anymore. Anybody got something to say? I thought so. When somebody approaches a conversation with that man talk, like, it is what it is. What we doing? We going to talk about it, or we going to do something else? Because other than that, these are the rules. This was happening. And again, that's just my take, and I might be wrong. I've been wrong a lot. It is what it is.
We can't keep up, I don't think, this same pace of support. You know, it seems unreasonable to think that we can, but
has there been any discussion as to like how long we do this for?
Not really. I think there's I think there's a general sense, because everybody's got ADD, there's a general sense of fatigue to some degree in some circles. But saying you want to know where it's going isn't saying that you're in support of Putin. And that's part of the problem. In today's world, if you say, well, so where is this all going? People say, well, f*** you. You're a Putin puppet. Well, no. F*** you. I just want to know what's happening. So,
yeah, it's weird like that, isn't it? I mean, it's so strange that you're either with them or against them, and you can't just be going, what are we doing? What is it not working? Lift the top. Gotta lift the top. Do you not know how to work a cigar lighter? Don't they teach you that in the CIA?
It's technical nowadays. Look at this.
It's not really. It's really easy.
Shout out to Joe Rogan for busting that man's balls for not knowing how to use a lighter. He said they didn't teach you that in the CIA. He said, no, it's not. It's really effing easy.
Monkey fucking a football here with you.
What? He said he feel like a monkey screwing a football, trying to open up the daggone lighter. Hold on, listen to Joe Rogan too.
Do you not know how to work a cigar lighter?
Don't
they teach you that in the CIA?
It's technical nowadays. Look at this.
It's not really. It's really easy.
I look like a monkey a football here with your lighter.
Do you know how to do it?
No.
Lift the top.
I'm trying to lift the top, but it's like a...
Give me that.
Oh, no, I'm going to figure this out.
You're not going to figure it out.
I'm going to spend the next 2 hours trying to figure this out.
I think you're on the wrong side.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Jesus Christ.
There you go. Look at that. I'm trying to open the bottom.
Calibri
I'm not paying any attention.
Oh, man. That one little back and forth made this video worth it for me. That right there made it worth it for me. Why? And this is why I like Joe Rogan's conversations, because no other channel goes there. No other conversation podcast, no matter how professional it is or starts off or any of that, goes there. I love that, man. Sometimes you gotta just talk. Relate to people. Be there. Be present. Don't give a damn about anybody, any backlash that's gonna come from it. Because you know that you operate in good intent, and somebody's on your show, bust their balls. And if you are the one getting your balls bust, don't get all triggered and sensitive and your feelings hurt, but joke and laugh about it and move on. That's how you relate to a people, man. There's so many people that's getting so triggered about every single thing, man. It's ruining everything.
I'm paying attention. And besides the fact, I use a Zippo.
Oh,
remember the Zippos?
The ones that leave that nice smell.
Yes,
that gasoline smell.
And I got a couple of Bic lighters too. And you know the nice thing about them? I don't have to with the top.
That's true.
So, but anyway, that was
There you go. I love
that
the
was
sound.
mildly embarrassing, but I'm too old to be embarrassed about anything anymore.
So, I mean, worst case scenario is this breaks out in a nuclear war. Right?
The top lifts up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah. If you look at, I mean, maybe this is a good time to say, okay, 2023, here we are. What should we pay attention to? What are we going to look at? With Russia, Ukraine, you're right. If suddenly Russia decides, I'm going with an unconventional weapon, right? It's time to break out, the nuke, and let's see what that does to the community of nations. So there's that potential in terms of how does this escalate. Something happens in terms of NATO and it drags NATO into it. That's a way this thing escalates. A cyber security attack in the region, maybe initially targeted at Ukraine, but then it somehow goes off into NATO allies, creates a major issue, shuts down power systems in Poland and the surrounding region. So there's ways that this thing could.
Who is George Soros? I keep seeing a name pop up in my thread, in my live feed. Please let me know. George, I should. You know what, guys? And for all the people who follow my channel, please don't think Van is some idiot. For some things, I am. I really am. For some things, I'm an actual freaking idiot. For other things, I'm a freaking genius. I am. I know a great deal about some things, but then for others, I don't. George Soros used to call for unity with China. Then he said they were a threat. George Soros is the biggest financier of the left. Ew. So even he is saying that China is a threat. Why is he saying China is a threat now? He's the guy that pays for laws to be put through. No cash bail. Wow. Okay. All right. So George Soros he's a big deal.
Escalate.
He's a communist.
Get a little bit out of control.
He's a billionaire communist. He's a communist, fascist, globalist. What the? How many times? How much stuff y'all gonna say about George Soros? I asked who George Soros is, and they are lighting his tail up in the comments. Oh my gracious, I love it.
Maybe, as we talked about, maybe there's increasing protest movement in Russia.
He's a short commie, okay?
And that threatens Putin's regime, and that makes him decide to do something a little bit more drastic.
What is the general consensus from the Russian people? Do they have a lockdown on the media in Russia, right? And even on the internet, right?
Yeah, they do. They've got and they've been very successful. And it's not like the old days. And during the Cold War, you could put a complete blanket over it, right? And that was it. There was no way for them to get news. They're not completely shut off, right? So they know what the hell's going on. Russian people are the population in general, they're very switched on, pragmatic. They suffer well, and that's part of the problem. They suffer well.
But my friends from Russia have always told me that nobody believes the media. That it's kind of like a nod and a wink as to what the media tells you, and that people kind of know that they bullshit you.
Right.
It's much more open. The reaction to the media is much more open. And in the United States, like if you're one of those people that listens to MSNBC, you're all in. You're all in with Rachel Maddow. She's gone now, right? Whoever the fuck is over there now.
So disrespectful. I love it, man. I'm sorry. This is just my style. This is my style of content. It is. Because I'm one of those Christians. I don't know if Joe Rogan loved the Lord or is a Christian or anything like that. I know I am. Don't know if I'll make it into the pearly gates of heaven, but I do know that I lead with love. I know that much. I do know that I will whoop somebody's ass in the name of Christianity, in the name of love, in the name of defending someone who I believe requires defending. So yeah, but I enjoy this style of content because it's so real. It's raw. It's rough. It's rough. It's raw. Yeah. That's why I like the conservative twins. I did not like their tales before. I'll tell you that much, but I like them now.
You're all in with those people. If you're on Fox News, you're all in with those people.
Right. Right. No, the Russian general population's always had kind of a dry, very sarcastic sense of humor towards information in general, right? And what they're being told by the authorities, and that includes the media. So, he can't control the population the way they used to, but they still, it's still a dictatorship. And so he's still got a significant state control. And the state media is still very good, as is the security apparatus, at controlling the message. So they're very good at that, right? And so that's kind of balanced against, and they're constantly in this battle against, increasing technology and its ability to spread information that's outside the bubble. And so, yeah, I mean, there's dissent, there's a feeling of dissatisfaction, but Putin's been very good in the past at finding the bogeyman, right? Whenever he's threatened of pointing to some outside force, usually us, and saying, look what they're doing to us, and kind of rallying the troops, getting everyone to the motherland. So, I wouldn't, it's like hoping that the mullahs, it's like hoping the Iranian regime topples under the weight of this current protest.
So whenever there's an issue, your boy, his name Putin, like to get in front of his people and talk ill about the United States and rally the troops and get them, uplifted about them being a victim. Here's the thing, what Putin does, if that's what he does, because I don't know, I'm just listening to these guys. Mike Baker sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but you all might not believe what he's saying. Feel free to let me know whatever y'all want me to know about him and his commentary. But that right there is a sucker move, man. For any person who runs a nation to stand in front of his people and complain about being picked on, step into his victimization mode in order to receive some type of support? Nah, that's not how you rally the troops. They're picking on us. What are we going to do about it, guys? They're picking on us. But that's my wife. My wife coming here making all this daggone noise. And I'm always listening. Yeah. So, yeah, she threw me off a little bit because as soon as I hear something, I'm like, okay, is this an emergency? Is this just something serious? But yeah, I just think it's a sucker move on the part of Putin. And I don't know what's going on in China. And being that I'm a God-fearing person, right? And I want the United States to win over everyone, to be honest with you. I do. But I look at all people as people. Now, if you are all for taking down another group of people, then you're my enemy. You are, because if that's your spirit, that's not a spirit of God, all right? So I look at that as something that I cannot support. I have to move on from that. But these type of conversations is how I learn. I see real people who have real knowledge about a topic, discussing it in a way that's not so tight-bootied, you know what I mean? Not so, sticky-nippled, and they are just discussing it freely. I appreciate that because that's how I learn. So I try to give people the same thing that I do. If I learn that way, I try to give you the same thing. But anyway, enough about me. Y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know in the comments below. And if you have yet to hit that sub button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. I love y'all, man. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.